Welcome to the second hour of our program. On the line with us, our buddy Phil Ittner, the veteran war correspondent based out of Kyiv, Ukraine, and the host of the On the Edge podcast. You can also find his video blog over on YouTube. Just look for Philip Ittner, Philipittner, or Ittner Philip on Blue Sky and Twitter. And today, Phil, you're in Lviv?
I am. I'm in Lviv, and I've spent the better part of the day on a train with spotty Wi-Fi, so I may be a little bit behind the curve news-wise, but the reason I've come to Lviv is a good one. I oftentimes partner and help fundraise for an organization called the Ukrainian Children's Action Project.
To which I donate, by the way, monthly.
I am very happy to hear that, and thank you very much for doing that, Tom. It's run by Dr. Erwin Redliner and his wife, Karen.
Who has been on this program.
And they are both wonderful people, and they are about to do something wonderful for the city of Lviv, and I wanted to be here to celebrate that with them. They are opening five new state-of-the-art pediatric operating rooms.
Wow.
5 brand new high-tech ORs. And if you have, of course, as we all have been watching the tragedy of what has been happening in Ukraine, and now to even include Lviv, these will save lives, and they will save children's lives because the Russians have no compunction against using basically just dumb weapons or purposely hit apartment buildings or what have you. So this will help save children's lives in Lviv. And so I wanted to be here to help, mark the moment.
That's absolutely marvelous. When you talk to Erwin,
yes.
When you speak with him, please suggest to him that he reach out to us again. We'd love to have him back on the program.
With absolute pleasure, I will do that. Yeah, okay. Absolutely. Erwin he's a very kind man, and he's been helping children around the world, not just here in this conflict, but notably in this conflict. And so I'm only too happy to sing his praises.
Yeah. So UKR's long-range strike campaign against Russian oil refineries continues. What's up with this? How are the Ukrainians doing here?
Well, they're doing very well. I spoke to an economist just last week who said the number of 17% of Russia's refining capability is actually an old stat. From kind of August, September.
This is the percentage that they've taken down, that the Ukrainians have destroyed.
The Ukrainians have knocked out, well, the last number we got was 17. This economist that I spoke to just last week said, when we get the numbers in from September, it's more likely to be upwards of 20.
Wow.
So this is a huge blow to Russia's economy and its capability to maintain its war economy, to pay its soldiers. And the Ukrainians are able to do this, obviously, with their sophisticated drone technology. But now they even have developed their own cruise missiles, which go well beyond 2,000 kilometers. So if my arithmetic is correct, I think that's somewhere around 1,500, 1,700 miles. So that's deep into Russian territory. And they are producing these new drones on their own. This is their own military industrial complex. They're developing, they're producing, obviously it's a closely held secret, but they're producing every day. Several of these, what they're called Flamingo cruise missiles. And they're not the most sophisticated cruise missiles in the world, but they do have a very long range, and they do carry a very heavy warhead, a very heavy payload. It is not comparable orange to orange. It's apples and oranges to what is being proposed by America with giving access to Tomahawk cruise missiles. The Tomahawk, while it was developed several years ago, decades ago really, still maintains a technological edge in that it is more able to.
If you're a homeowner in America, you need to listen to this. The FBI has been warning about a type of real estate fraud on the rise called title theft, and your equity is the target. Here's how it works. Criminals forge your signature on a single document, use a fake notary stamp, and file it with the county. And just like that, bang, on record, they own your home. Using your ownership, they then take out loans against your equity or even sell your property, and you won't know about it until you get a foreclosure or collection notice in the mail. That's why I've partnered with Home Title Lock so you can protect your equity and find out today if you're already a victim. Go to HometitleLock.com/Tom and you'll get a free title history report and a free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. That's 24/7 monitoring of your title records, urgent alerts to any changes, and if fraud does occur, their U.S.-based restoration team will spend up to $1 million to fix it. Don't be a victim. Protect your equity today. Go to HometitleLock.com/Tom, T-H-O-M. That's HometitleLock.com/Tom.
Evade anti-air defenses. The Flamingo does not have that capability. It flies. It's slow and long, but it is not evasive.
Right.
But again, it carries that heavy payload. So they're going to keep hitting Russia's main source of income, which is their fossil fuel facilities, and even by hitting their refineries. They are starting to put damage and put difficulty on the citizens of Russia because they're waiting at the pump. In a country that is a major oil producer, if they can't refine it, they're going to have to. There's even some reports that they're going to have to start importing petroleum, gasoline, refined oil, because their refinery capabilities are being so damaged. We'll have to see if that actually happens, but this is not an uncommon stance that a lot of people who study these things far more than I do are saying. And that would be very damaging to Vladimir Putin because he's always promised his people that the chaos of the 90s would never happen again, and that he would always maintain stability and security in Russia. Well, if he can't provide that, and the war is as costly and has gone on as long as it has, and all the other things that are happening in Russia as a repercussion of his decision to do this war, that's when people start to wonder how stable Vladimir Putin's regime will be. I don't know how close we are to that or how far down the road we are on that, but it is certainly, I am sure, something that the man in the Kremlin is thinking about regularly. So all of those things are happening. Of course, they are still exporting crude oil in what is called their shadow fleet. There are some discussions that are being had out there about cracking down harder on the shadow fleet, closing the shipping lanes. One of their major customers is India. And of course, the Trump administration has been kind of putting overtures out there that they're not too happy about that and that they might do something about that. But Donald Trump and Taco, who knows if they'll ever actually sit down with Modi and say, stop buying Russian oil.
Yeah, I totally get it. Forgive my ignorance of Ukrainian geography. I'm not sure exactly where Lviv is. Are you anywhere near that nuclear power plant that's at risk of melting down?
No, that's Zaporizhzhia. Okay. I am closer to Chernobyl than I am
which
to,
is also a risk of melting
Zaporizhzhia.
down, isn't it? Haven't they
Which
also?
is also a risk of melting down and also has been the target of Russian attacks in the past. So it is of grave concern. I mean, that sarcophagus, I have been to that sarcophagus. I have been to Pripyat, the town where the nuke power plant workers lived. It's a very eerie place, and it is still. You can't stay. You are not allowed to stay there for a very long period of time. They took when I saw it was the 15-year anniversary of the event. So they took me out there for a couple of hours, and then they said we got to go because this place. And yet the Russians, when they invaded in the full-scale invasion, had their men dig in there dig into the radioactive dirt. One more thing I'll say about the location, just for listeners and for your own perhaps interest, is that we're the city that's closest to Poland. I'm about a 40. Okay. I'm about a 45-minute drive to the Polish border, which is a border crossing I loathe because it's so complicated and backed up. But it is for that reason that a lot of people who do fundraising and who do, gathering of equipment and, resources, they base themselves here because this is the closest major metropolitan area after the Polish border. So what they will do is they will set up warehouses and things here. This is international aid. And then they will send them out into the distribution routes that have been long established that go, north, south, east, west in Ukraine, everywhere. So a lot of people base themselves here, including Dr. Redliner's operation. So,
I get it.
And many others as well. I spoke last week. Our show was involved with guys who bring over vehicles and medical equipment. They pack these SUVs with as many tourniquets as they can and plasma and whatever they need. And then they drive it here to Lviv. They hand over the keys, and then the Ukrainians take it from there. But that's what Lviv is about in a lot of ways.
Got it.
Which is why I'm here.
Yeah, last question. I'm reading that a Russian electronics plant in Siberia was blown up. Now, again, I don't have a map in front of me, but my recollection is Siberia is a long way from Ukraine. Was this sabotage, or is this one of these missiles?
If I were to hazard a guess, which of course we as journalists are loath to do, but I will take off my journalist cap and I will put on my analyst hat. I would. If I were a betting man, I would say this was sabotage.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is a major, major issue for the Russians because, of course, the shared language, and there are connections between family, and there are Russians who sympathize with the Ukrainian cause. So if I were to take a guess, I would say it was sabotage.
Yeah. We just have 40 seconds here, Phil. Do you have any sense that Putin is being shaken by this stuff, or is he just keeping his head down and he's unconcerned?
He doesn't have a choice. He doesn't have a choice. If the war were to stop tomorrow, he would be chucked out of office.
He'd be deposed.
And Russian leaders who lose wars of this scale don't last long. And when they do lose power, they lose it in a pretty ugly way. And he knows it. So he can't stop, and he can't, keep going on. He is really between a rock and a hard place.
And this is why he's importing foreign soldiers and things like that.
There you go.
Yeah. Got it.
That's right.
The great Phil Ittner. Check out his podcast, On the Edge, his YouTube channel, Philip Ittner. Ittner Philip on Blue Sky and Twitter. Phil, it's always great talking with you. Say hi to Erwin for me, and thank you so much.
I will. We'll get him on your show as well.
There you go.
All right. Okay. Thanks, Tom.
Thanks a lot.